Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, my name is Annisa Prillia Maharani and I am on my 6th semester from A class, English Educational Department. I made this video to fulfill my microteaching practical training, but sadly, because in this pandemic era, we cannot do it in real life, so instead, I made a video of a microteaching for online classes. Please enjoy! Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, how are you guys doing? I hope all of you guys are doing well. So before we start the learning session, it's better for us to pray beforehand. Okay, so before I start with the material, at the end of this video there will be a quiz, and the quiz will be submitted using a Google form, and I will see who are the people that actually submitted, and by completing the quiz, obviously there will also be your attendance list. Good luck! So, do you guys know about procedure text? Probably the simple thing is some of us probably like to cook, very like to cooking, and you guys probably see a recipe to achieve a current delicious food, dishes and everything, and that recipe is what you call procedure text, is an example of a procedure text. So like for example, if you want to achieve how to make a perfect dalgona coffee with the right consistency and everything, you need a guide, right? You can't just make things up, you'll fail eventually. So of course you're going to see throughout the internet how to make dalgona coffee or dalgona coffee recipe, and we'll see the instructions, the recipe, what are the things, the utensil that you need, the ingredients and everything, the steps, the detailed steps, how to achieve the right whip consistency of dalgona coffee and everything. And that is the use of recipe, which is the use of procedure text, of course. Another example is like an instruction book. When you buy like a new television or a new cell phone, there must be a book, like an instruction book, how to use it. And also, instruction book is also one of the example of procedure text. When you want to download something from the internet, there are steps. Before we do that, those steps are also called procedure text. So, yeah, procedure text is that the thing that explain or help us how to make or use something that is social functions, is to describe how something is completely done through a sequence of steps. Communicative purpose of this text is to describe how something is made through a sequence of actions or steps. So from the brief explanation about what is procedure text, probably all of you guys have some ideas what is actually procedure text. And now I'm going to explain you what are the structure of procedure text, what's the purpose of it, and what are the language features inside the procedure text. I'm going to explain it to you throughout the digital whiteboard. So hello guys, this is me from the digital whiteboard. So first of all, of course, procedure text. There are 3 definitions about procedure text. 3 definitions. The first one is text that explain how something works or how to use instructions, operation manuals, for example, how to use the video, the computer, the tape recorder, the photocopier, or maybe the fax. So first is to explain. Second, tasks that instruct how to do a particular activity, For example, recipes, rules for games, science experiments, road safety rules, and etc. So the second means to instruct. And last, or the third, is texts that deal with human behavior. For example, how to live happily, or maybe how to succeed in life. To instruct, let's say, instruct human behavior. So basically, procedure text is to explain, to instruct, and also to instruct human behavior. Those are the three definitions of procedure text. On to the next one. Structure of procedure text. So, as we all know, for example, like in recipe, there will always be a title. Let's say this is recipe. There's title, there's the ingredients, there's the utensil, and then steps. Then what is the structure of procedure text? Of course, that there is the goal, and second, there is a material, and last is the steps. Excuse me. So the goal in recipe is the title, and the material in recipe is the utensil and the ingredients, and the steps, of course, the steps. These are the structure, the main structure of procedure text. And these are the current order of how you do the procedure text. You cannot just change it into, I want to do the step first, and then I want goal to be the second, and then material to be the last. I mean, that could work, but not all people will understand it because it doesn't make any sense. So, this is the correct way and the correct order for you to do procedure text. It is a must. It is a must to do. You have to do it this way. On to the next part. Purpose of the procedure text. So what is the purpose of the procedure text? I guess all of you know already guess, or probably already wondering, I think I know what is the purpose of a procedure text. Indeed, the purpose of the procedure text is to explain or tell the reader, whoever the reader is, how to operate, how to do something through a sequence of actions or steps. That is the main thing about procedure text, to tell people, to explain the step, to instruct people how to make something, to operate, to reach the goals, whatever it is. The goal is you want to make a dalgona coffee with the perfect whip consistency. You have to follow the procedure text. And those for you who want to make a procedure text, that is why it is very important for you to use the language that is understandable for the readers. And that is why we are going to the language features of procedure text. Because this is also the crucial part. Because you want to make sure that your reader is understand well how to achieve the goal that you are making in procedure text, right? So, yeah. So the first is, you want to make sure you use adverbial of sequence, adverbial or sequence, or using temporal conjunction for first blah 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 blah, and then second blah blah blah, the third blah blah blah, and the last step is the blah 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 blah. adverbial sequence, temporal conjunction. And second is to use command, command or imperative sentences. So imperative sentence means like put the noodles on the stove probably, or on the oven, and then cut the onion, wash the tomatoes, something like that. Like a command, like you need to do the dishes now, like commanding someone, ask someone to do it. And the third is to use adverbial, like adverbs, to express detail, the time, place, manner, accurate, for example, for 5 minutes, 2 hours, all the things like that. Okay, let me write it down. The time, place, for like the details of it. Example, how long, etc. And then using action verbs. Action verbs. So action verbs is like, for example, make, take, boil, cook. It's very easy. Basically, all you need to do for the words for your procedure text is to make it as simple as possible and straight to the point, straightforward. So your reader will be immediately understand, oh, then next I have to do this. They don't need to think about it. Like, they'll just read it and then, okay, I need to do this next. Straightforward. That's what I mean. Make, take, boil, cook. Take, boil, cook. All the simple words. And then the last is using simple present tense. Those are the things that are inside the procedure text, the language features that you will find, and for you to make the procedure text. First is using adverbial sequences, and then use a command or imperative sentence. Like, also the command words is like put the noodles on there's an example. And use adverbials like time, place, example, how long, like it takes 2 hours and something like that. Using action verbs like make, take, boil, cook. And the last is using simple present tense. So from the explanation they already explained from the whiteboard, we can clearly see the summary of it. The definition of a procedure text. First is the procedure text is to explain how something works. And the second of it, procedure text is to instruct how to do a particular activity. For example, recipes, rules of games, etc. And the third is the last one is procedure text to deal with human behavior, like a guide to how to live happily, a guide how to succeed in life, something like that. And then the structure of procedure text. The first is goal, of course, and the second is the material of it. For example, the ingredients that you need, the utensil for the things that you need, and last is, of course, the steps. And also the purpose of procedure text. The first one is to explain or tell the readers how to make, operate, or do something through a sequence of action or steps. And then procedure text is to explain steps or instruction to make or operate or to do something. So, and also the language features in the procedure text are using adverbial of sequence or temporal conjunction, use a command or imperative sentence, using adverbials such as to express detail the time, place, manner accurate, for example, for 5 minutes, 2 hours, something like that. Using action verbs for like make, take, boil, cooking. And the last is using simple present tense. Very easy, right? Now go and make some recipe. Quiz time. So I already made a few questions, probably like 3 until 5 questions if I'm not mistaken, on the WhatsApp group, and make sure for you to submit it before tomorrow. Yes, before tomorrow, which is tonight at 12 o'clock. And that will be also you attending this. So if you're not going to do the quiz, even though you already watched this video, I'm sorry, but I cannot output you on absent, I suppose. So make sure to do the quiz. So I think that's all for our class session today about procedure text. I hope you guys understand about what is procedure text, because I think this material is pretty easy, and we all know that because it's very common things for us to find it in our daily life. So thank you for your attention, guys. I hope you guys understand. I hope you guys can make procedure text after this. Okay. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Goodbye.